Keep going in just another minute or two. Got a good crowd showing up. I like it. Thank you.
I do not have that. No, and I don't need it.
It's like 30. Yep. You ready?
Yes, sir.
We're good. All right.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome everybody that has taken the time to join us. Can we have a roll call?
All right, we sure can. Just as a reminder, since we're on virtual today, make sure during our votes today that everybody turns their cameras on. And then also, since it'll be a little bit tougher than usual to go a little slower on the motions and the seconds and make sure we know who say your name when you make a motion. We'll continue with the roll call. Bullitt County.
Keith Griffey here.
Hello, Keith. City of Charlestown. City of J-Town, Jeffersontown.
Matt Meunier here.
Hey, Matt. City of Jeffersonville. How about New Albany?
Claire Johnson here.
Hi, Claire.
Hi.
Shively. St. Matthews.
Rick Tonini here.
Hi, Mayor. Double dose of St. Matthews today. Thank you, guys. Clark County.
Brian Dixon here.
Hi, Brian. Floyd County.
Nick Creevy here.
Hello, Nick. I think I see Commissioner Schellenberger on there too. No, you're distinct from him, aren't you? You weren't. So thank you guys for joining us.
John's commissioner here.
Yep. Let's see. NDOT.
Taylor Aaron.
Hi, Taylor. Jefferson County League of Cities. Oh, hey, Tony. Thanks for joining us today, Tony. Jefferson County League of Cities. Don't see Mayor Chapman. How about KYTC?
Matt Bullock,
Matt.
District 5.
Hello, Matt.
Tom Hall, District 5.
Hello, Tom. Louisville Metro Government.
Mike King's here.
See Mike. I see Amanda. Thank you all for joining us.
Hey, we're trying to figure out if Nicole's planning to come and represent us today.
Okay, all right. Airport Authority, do not, don't see anybody from there. How about Oldham County?
Jim Urban here.
Thanks for joining us, Jim. Town of Clarksville. I see Brad. Brad, you can hear us. Thanks for joining us. And then, do we have anybody from TARC on the line today? I don't think so, and that's about our advisory members. Do we have anybody from Federal Highways? I'm not seeing anybody. If so, we'll recognize them once they get on here. In the room today is Chairman Bowling and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 KIPTA staff. So thank you all for joining us today on a kind of a special meeting and taking time every day to join us. And with that, let's we have quorum and let's continue off the agenda, sir.
All right. Everyone received a copy of the last meeting's minutes. Can I hear a motion for accepting or changing?
So moved.
Jim Urban, Matt Meunier. Thank you, guys.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item is the public comment period. Greg?
Yep, did not receive any comments prior to the meeting beginning. Do not see anything in the Q&A at this moment. So I don't believe we have any public comments at this point.
Seeing none, we'll go on to number 4, public involvement report.
All right.
Greg again.
Sir. Share my screen real quickly here. a fairly quick report. I'll have a little bit more here in my annual report later in the meeting. We'll go through, real quick and look at the website analytics for October. Overall, the numbers were down just a slight, but not much. 393 visitors to our main page. Tip page had 454 visitors, and our MTP page saw 132 visitors last month. Social media wise, yeah, let's go say October. I'm sorry about that. Some mistake. 10 posts for 1,159 impressions. Engagements up just slightly at 116. Twitter, we did see a drop again. Back when we had a really strong month in October, but or in September. 791 impressions, 46 engagements. And Instagram impressions are up 283. Engagements stayed about the same at 23. We had several events that we attended: Middletown Chamber of Commerce meeting, as well as the Kentucky Association of Government Communicators. We were at the U of L Sustainability Day, as well as the Louisville Earth Walk at Shawnee Park. That wraps up my report. If anybody has any questions or comments, I can take them at this time.
Any questions for Greg? Seeing none, let's go on to item number 5, MPO dedicated funds update. Brady.
Ready?
I am.
Oh,
I'm just, yeah, hold on a second, I'm gonna sit down, we're just gonna wait for the presentation.
while Greg's bringing that up, I want to recognize Kevin Beatty for joining us. Thanks for joining us, Kevin. And I think I saw Cedro. I see Tracy Lovell, also from KYPC. Thank you guys for joining us. If I miss anybody, I apologize. Trying to keep an eye on them.
There we go. Greg? Yes, sir.
Okay, so TTCC from October, there were 8 projects that had requests for cost increases from Louisville Metro. So these are all Louisville Metro projects. This committee will be familiar with those top 3, the ones in green, because they were brought forth and approved by TPC in the October TPC. The ones that I'm going to be more concerned with today are these ones that are in yellow. These projects all requested at the October TTCC to have an increase of TA funds for these project phases. Unfortunately, there wasn't any additional TA funds to give at the time. We're currently programmed out through 2027 essentially. And so that request for a cost increase of TA funds was withdrawn. It was never voted on at TTCC and never brought to TPC. But as a result of that discussion for these 4 projects, Louisville Metro has worked with KIPTA on a alternative proposal to help get these projects the money that they need to keep them on time and on schedule. And so that's what we're going to be looking at today with these 5 projects here. So these 5 projects are all Louisville Metro projects that they're all TA projects. The top 3, the ones in green, under this proposal would be receiving an increase of TA dollars. So Blanton Lane sidewalk right-of-way phase fiscal year 24 would receive an increase of $266,880. Gagel Avenue sidewalk right-of-way phase fiscal year 24 would receive an increase of $264,000. Bernheim Lane sidewalk and road reconfiguration construction phase would move up in the timeline. It's currently programmed for fiscal year 27, but would move up to fiscal year 24 and also receive an increase of $288,000. And then in order for those increases to work, we're going to be this proposal suggests taking money from a couple of existing phases from other Louisville Metro TA projects. So the first one is Crumbs Lane sidewalk phase 1, construction phase 2026. It would be decreasing federal funds of $503,880. And then McNeely Louisville Loop, its construction phase in 2024, would decrease federal funds currently programmed of $315,000. And so if you do the math for all of the numbers on the right column, it all zeroes out essentially. So the funding proposal results in a net zero change in the total amount of TA MPO funding for the Louisville Metro project. We're just kind of swapping which projects are receiving more or less federal funds for these particular phases. And if these proposed changes are approved, the projected Kentucky TA MPO balance, you can see the numbers here are all positive, meaning that if this proposal were approved, then there would be room in the budget to accommodate these changes in the TA budget. Last note is that the October TTCC did vote to recommend approval for these changes. And unless there are any other questions or comments or concerns, I would request TPC action on these 5 Louisville Metro project changes.
Okay, does anyone have any questions of Brady? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
We have a motion, a second,
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Brady. Next item, administrative modification policy. Chris?
Thank you. Afternoon, everybody. Got a little presentation here, and this one as well, some of you saw in the TTCC meeting earlier this month. So this one is a proposed administrative modification policy update that we've put together. Real quick, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of our current policy. Some of the highlights of it: it's designed for minor changes to the tip only, and no updates are made to the long-range plan through administrative modifications. That's kind of a key. We don't need to present administrative modifications to the public, and we don't require TPC approval. However, we do present the admin mods for information only at TPC meetings, and you'll get one of those later on today. The objective is to have a faster method to make small updates when a high level of scrutiny is not necessary for the project changes. And a part of the conversation are amendments, things to consider. They can be used to update the TIP and MTP. So like I said, the admin mods are just TIP only, amendments are both. Any projects that are deemed regionally significant or affect air quality must be made through amendments. And they are more time consuming. As most of you know, they can take up to 3 months for an amendment. Administrative modifications, they're typically used for doing minor data entry errors, correcting them. They're used for splitting or combining projects, sometimes changing or clarifying elements of the project description, and that's in the cases without modifying the original project intent. Updating the funding category, we use them for phase shifts, as long as they don't impact the fiscal constraint of the TIP. We use them for adding phases to existing projects, adding eligible new group projects, and also sometimes for a rollover provision when we have a new TIP. Now, our proposed change is that we would like to, in addition to the uses for administrative modifications in the previous slide, we'd like to add to the existing list and make it possible that we can update the estimated total project cost in the MTP when it's applicable. So this would be just for projects that are in both the TIP and MTP. To make a more accurate records keeping effort internally for us at KIPTA, this would be helpful. And this would be the only permitted MTP update if this is approved. I have a hypothetical sample just to kind of illustrate why this would help us. So the first highlighted box where it says MTP action, that's new. We don't have that box right now. And that would say that we're updating the total estimated project cost. The other highlighted box, the total estimated project cost, that box is not new, but through admin mods under the current policy, we can't actually do that. And in this case, the project, it's a hypothetical transit project. They're just adding about $6,000 to one of their transit capital phases. So the total cost program in the TIP is gonna go up in this admin mod, but technically that also would change the total estimated project cost. However, we can't update the MTP through a simple admin mod. And that's what we are hoping that we can approve today, so we can make that possible. Actions requested, and I do want to also say that this, if it's approved, it would be effective immediately, and we would add it to the MTP at the soonest logical time, which likely would be in the next amendment. And that's all I got on that.
Does anyone have any questions of Chris? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Have a motion and a second?
So Cedro with the motion, and then was it Keith? Your second?
Hmm. We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, guys.
Next item, TPC Officers Nominating Committee. Andy.
Thank you, sir. 2024 officers of the TPC. The TPC bylaws state that the highest ranking member on the KIPTA Board of Directors has the, let's call it the right of first refusal to be the TPC chairperson. In 2024, that person happens to be the man sitting immediately to my right, Mr. Bernie Bowling. He has expressed that he would like to be the KIPTA board chairman and only the KIPTA board chairman instead of doing double duty next year. And that's perfectly fine by us, and we thank him for his service this year on the TPC. So we're going to need to elect a new TPC chair and a new TPC vice chairperson for for calendar 2024. And we would plan to have that official nomination and voting on those officers at our January meeting, January 25th meeting. In the interim, what I suppose we should do is follow the technical committee's lead. That is to establish a nominating committee, and that would be myself. Chairman Bowling has volunteered, and we would be looking for 2 other volunteers, preferably one from each state. Would be awesome if we could do that. And the group of 4 of us would get together, brief meeting, 30 minutes probably in the next month, and work on the finding 2 people to nominate for next year. Chairman, would you like to say anything else about that, or otherwise?
No, that sounds good to me.
Okay, so otherwise we're seeking volunteers to be on this nominating committee. So love to have your help.
Andy, I'll be on the nominating committee. Matt Bullock.
Thank you, Matt.
Happy to help if you need someone from Indiana.
Thank you, Claire. That'd be perfect. That's a great nominating committee right there.
Okay.
All right, so the nominating committee be Mr. Bullock, Mr. Bowling, and Ms. Johnson. So thank you all.
Appreciate you all volunteering. Okay, the next item is the 2024 legislative priorities. Andy?
So last month, I brought this up to the committee. seeking feedback, as to what, if any, the TPC's priorities might be as a body, as a region, as a Kentucky region, perhaps, if not the full 5-county region, for the upcoming, legislative session that starts here in, 6 weeks or so. Didn't get any feedback, and that's okay. But wanted to open up the table again today for anybody that has any ideas that if we want to have a concerted, unified effort, in our efforts with our legislators, in Frankfurt. KIPTA as an agency, KIPTA as an area development district, we'll have several priorities that we'll be sharing with our legislators. A lot of those are outside of the transportation realm, dealing with some housing issues, some water and wastewater priorities of the agency, of the region, senior meal programs, and extended funding for some case manager type roles here at KIPTA and at the ads across the state, perhaps. So our transportation priorities surely are our shift priorities, right? Those are the priorities that were sponsored and boosted. So we'll be advocating for those individually and collectively. Are there any others? Are there any others we need to talk about? And if so, please either state your case right now, or we can talk about it as a body, as a committee. We can continue this conversation at a later date if you want to as well. So again, I brought this to you all last month, and I don't have a whole lot more to add to what we had last month. But if there are any priorities that you see would be great for this agency to vouch for, please let us know. Thank you.
Nicole has her hand up.
Oh, we do have a question. Nicole.
Thank you. I'm glad to see everyone today, even if it is just virtual. Just wanted to remind folks, Mayor Greenberg has pushed out some legislative requests, and wanted to remind folks of what those pieces are that involve infrastructure, to see if maybe there's any appetite for alliance on that. The one was a $35 million one-time fund request for planning and construction of transportation and other infrastructure improvements needed to support smart growth in less densely populated portions of Louisville. And so $35 million is the ask for that. There was also a request for Louisville Loop infrastructure in East Jefferson County. That request was $8 million. There's the Ohio River Northeast project connecting Lewis and Clark Bridge to US 42. I believe that's $1 million request. And rounding out the legislative priorities specific to transportation involves $17 million for the design and construction of new infrastructure near New Lou. I'm sorry, not New Lou, LuMed, the LuMed district, our medical district. So those were pieces carved out by Metro as advocacy points. And if folks have an interest in any of those or joining forces potentially, just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole. Above and beyond what, we were talking about, some of the ones that I was mentioning in KIPTA and the shift priorities, we're never going to stop on the, working toward getting, so-called fair share into the KIPTA region, bringing as much federal and state money both into this region. And so we'll never stop that, whether it's General Assembly's in session or otherwise. So thank you for those. Are there others? If not, I suppose we can move right on.
Okay. The next item is administrative modifications. Kristen's up again.
Okay, I do not have a presentation for this one. I'm just gonna go through it. So based on the approval today of agenda items 5 and 6, we will be processing some changes submitted in administrative modification number 7. Admin mod 7 is for information purposes only and does not require approval. In the memo that was shared with everyone, there is a link of a draft and a QR code. If anyone hasn't looked at that yet, you might want to pull that up. And I did update it earlier today as well, I should say. So the changes are as follows. Based on agenda items 5's approval, we have the TA funding increases for the Blanton Lane, Gagel, and Burnham Lane sidewalk projects. We have the TA funding decreases for the Crumbs Lane sidewalk phase 1 and McNeely Louisville Loop projects. Based on the completion of amendment number 4, which we finished earlier this week, and the approval received at the October TPC meeting, we are adding 1.47 million federal funding for fiscal year 26 construction to the Charlestown Road Complete Street Multi-Use Trail Phase 2. And based on the agenda item number 6 for today's TPC meeting, we are going to update the total estimated project cost in the MTP to match the tip for a handful of projects. I'm gonna go through the list just so everyone can hear it. If you're on the list, you might wanna look at the sample. Greg's pulled it up now too, and get with me if you see any issues with any of these changes. So we have also Gagel, Blanton, and Bernheim sidewalk projects. We're updating that as well. From Louisville Metro, we are gonna update the River Road, KIPT ID 163. From Oldham County, we've got KY 329, KIPT ID 1877, and also the Old LaGrange Road improvements, bicycle and pedestrian trail. And we're doing one other change to that. We're fixing the row to fiscal year 24. We should have done that in the last admin mod. Then we have Mount Washington's Historic Memorial Multi-Use Trail, KIPT ID 2479. Clark County's CR 403 Stacy Road Intersection Improvement Project 2549. And then NDOT, I've got a small list here. We've got US 150, KIPT ID 2900, and then also US 150 2913. And we've got SR 60 at St. Joe Road, KIPT ID 3054, I-64 HMA overlay 3192, and the NEVI project 3215. With KYTC, we are going to update the total estimated project cost for the I-65 bridge at Jacob and Broadway and Gray Street. That's 3115. I-65 bridge at East Chestnut, 3117. I-65 bridge at Kentucky and Brook, 3169. And then for TARP, we have a non-fixed route ADA paratransit service, 3169. Then the following updates were submitted to us that don't have anything to do with agenda items that were approved today. We have Lifespan Resources. We're correcting the open to public year to 2024. And that was a newer project that we put in admin mod 6 earlier in the month. We've got the Park Duval Community Health Center. They are adding a new 5310 child transit project. KIPT ID to be determined. And then the Clark County Bridge 413, that's 2836. We're adjusting the description because the project is a rehab project and not a replacement. And that's my full list. If anyone has anything that they need to change, I'll probably leave the draft open until close of business Monday and complete the admin mod Tuesday morning. Next.
Does anyone have any questions for Chris? Okay, seeing none, thank you, Chris. Next item, annual outreach report. Greg?
Yes, sir. We'll go through, kind of break down some of the numbers and events and things for over the past year, just for your all's information. We'll talk about the social media numbers first, and I've talked about this before with Twitter and X. We've seen a decline in that, and the numbers kind of back that up. Our total impressions for the year were 19,737 with an annual average impression of 1,600. That's actually down over half compared to 2022. and it tripled in drops in average impressions, as compared to episode 22 as well. Total engagements also down 1,127 with an average of 94 a month. That is down over half in total engagement and a drop of over half in average engagement. There is a silver lining here, a small one. The ratio of engagement in 23 is higher than in 22. So while we're not getting as many people to see our stuff on the timeline, the ones that are engaging with it is higher than it was previously in 22. So we had more people that year looking at our stuff, but less people clicking on links and photos, that kind of stuff. So this year, there's been some more engagement, which is good. That ratio is a little bit better. Moving on to Instagram, we stayed pretty even compared to 22s, 4,982 with an average impression of 415. Like I said, that's just a slight drop from 22. I think number-wise, it was just over 5,000 with an average of like 422. So stayed pretty even. Total engagements, 541 with a 45 annual average engagement. Unfortunately, I can't compare that to 22. That's a new metric that was just started at in 23, so I couldn't at that point compare it, but I'll be able to compare it next year. Facebook. Now this is where the good news starts in. Total impressions, almost 100,000 impressions. Annual average of over 8,000 at 8,330. That is up nearly double in total impressions compared to 22, and more than doubles in our average impressions for the year. Engagements also up across the board. 10,496, 874 annual average engagements. That's triple the engagement compared to 22, and it quadruples our average engagement. So that's a huge thing. Facebook has always been our main platform that we've used. And I think these numbers back it up and show why we continue to use that. That's those are great numbers. Obviously helped a lot by we've been doing a lot more paid advertising. I think that's gotten some more eyeballs on our stuff, but it's really good to see. Other good news, our main page, our tip, and our MTP, all up across the board. Kipton.org/transportation saw 3,500 visitors with an average of 292 per month. Our transportation improvement program page went up 3,320 visitors with 276 average visitors. And our MTP page also up 1,628 visitors with 135 average a month. Both the tip and the MTP page doubled compared to the numbers back in 2022. So that's great news. Why the increase? That's a great question. One thing that I started doing a little different this year, midway through the year, we started posting public comment notifications on both those pages, versus also just doing it on our public participation page and the main KIPTA website page. So I think that helps a little bit, just gets more eyeballs there. I also give credit to Chris and Brady. They've done a great job in trying to increase the user friendliness of the page, as well as adding some more tools and resources. So I think the idea is to get people to show up to the page and then continue to keep coming back. And I think they've done a great job of making it a lot easier to do that. And I think the numbers kind of support that. Events throughout the year. So we attended 14 total events, mostly here in the Louisville area. But half of those events were in environmental justice areas. So the biggest thing we're trying to push is trying to kind of close that digital divide gap. So much of our stuff is done obviously online, but so many people don't have access to that. That's why we send out this stuff to the MPO libraries, so that people have that access that they maybe not have to get at home. Also, by going out to these areas, these events, especially when we have public comment opportunities at the same time, we're able to get these out to these people and get comments back. So that was great news. I think the goal for next year is definitely push it out a little bit more into the region, get some more events in Oldham, in Bullitt County, as well across the river in Clark and Floyd. So we have 5 public comment opportunities between our MTP and our tip updates, and as well as our amendments. 125 total comments. Our MailChimp currently has 1,714 subscribers. So that's our emails that we send out for our notifications, as well as our meetings and invites, those type of things. Lastly, this was one thing I talked about in the summer. We did an update to the Citizens Guide for Transportation Planning. So this is a brochure that we have out at events. Typically, just needed just a fresh coat of paint, so to speak. It talks about like what is KIPTA, why transportation planning is important. The MPO 101, there's a QR code that takes you to our website and shows you a breakdown of the MPO questions. It also has our core documents in it, so our MTP and the TIP, other plans, participation plan, complete streets policy, environmental justice resource guide, and our coordinated human services transportation plan. Also speaks a little bit about our rural regional transportation council. Has our TPC members on there, as well as how to follow us on social and stay in contact. So, if I have any questions, I'll obviously take them at this time, but that wraps up my report for the year. Thought overall it was a pretty good year. We're going to get out to a lot of good events, and I'm looking forward to 2024.
Thank you, Greg. Anyone have any questions of Greg? Okay, seeing none, we'll move along. 2024 TPC dates.
Yes, so in your packet, you will find the tentative dates for the 2024 schedule. Just to put on your calendar, I will continue, a week out, sending out the meeting notifications with the packet attached. As I have done, we'll continue to do the hybrid format. I think that works really well. One thing to look for in December, we're just going to be doing some house cleaning, some updates. I'm going to be contacting everybody and checking to see, make sure that we're up to date on representatives, especially main contacts and alternatives. So be looking for that. That's going to be something I'm going to be doing in December. Look for an email from me, and just please get back to me with that. Biggest things, and Annie can kind of attest to that. We just need to make sure that we have the right attendees for these meetings. So you're not getting an invite you don't need or don't want.
If there's any changes to who should be an alternate member representing your community or your agency, we will need that in the form of written communication. Email's okay these days, from the primary voting person. So somebody from the mayor's office, for example, or the mayor, him or herself, type thing. So, but there's probably a few changes, but I don't envision there to be a lot. But if there is, please respond to Greg and let him know who's the right person for your agency going forward into the new year.
Thank you. Next item, Indiana Transportation Excellence Award.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Up again.
Yeah, it's a great show today. So we took obviously the Kite Award. We showed this video off at the annual meeting, so I wanted to show it off again just for the folks that were not in attendance that day. It has the 4 nominees as well as the winner. So I will play that right now. The 2023 Kite Awards had 4 nominations this year, spanning different sites from all across the KIPTA region. Our first nomination comes from the City of Prospect in the US 42 Safety Improvement Project. The project represents a cooperative effort between the City of Prospect and the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet to develop improvement scenarios for the state-maintained US route through the heart of the city. The study has also served as a catalyst to restart a KYTC project from Harrods Creek to River Road that's been stalled for almost a decade. The planning study has proposed new alternatives for that project, and funding for the improvements have been secured using STVG, MPO, and state funds, and the project is once again underway. Our next nominee is from KYTC and heads south to Taylorsville Road at South Hope Lick Road. This project improves intersection safety and maintains connectivity for everyone that uses the road and the parks. This project will provide initial improvements that will ultimately be a part of the widening of Kentucky 155 from I-265 to Kentucky 148. The project will add a lane in each direction on 155. These projects together will increase the overall capacity and safety of the corridor. Our third nominee from KYTC and KIPTA heads to Bullitt County. While small in status, this project has been big on impact. The new turn lanes in front of Bullitt East High School has lessened congestion and improved safety in a high traffic area, and is also the first phase of widening Highway 44. County officials say they're told on a daily basis what a difference this has made on the families of the students going to the school, as well as the citizens that live in this growing part of the county. Our final project comes from the city of New Albany and is this year's 2023 Kite Award winner. The East Main Street Improvements is a road reconstruction project in the heart of downtown New Albany. This project improved walkability and multimodal accessibility of the Main Street corridor. The East Main Street Reconstruction Project stands as a beacon of urban transformation, prioritizing the safety and well-being of its residents. The project bridges the reconstruction of East Main while ensuring a seamless transition and cohesive urban development. Sidewalk aesthetics were uplifted, but more importantly, pedestrian safety is significantly enhanced. The reduced width of crosswalks further minimizes the time pedestrians spend on the road, decreasing potential risk. This project doesn't stop at punctuality. Enhanced street lighting and pedestrian visibility make the area not only safer, but also more welcoming and attractive. So I do want to thank everyone that got nominated this year. We took out our drone, which was fun to get out and shoot these projects. And so that was a fun little project for us to put together, and I really appreciate it. I want to say congratulations to Albany once again. Again, another great project, I think. We have really good nominations this year.
Sure did. Claire, where's the trophy at? We handed out the trophy last week.
Yeah, it's in the mayor's office. We really appreciate the recognition on this project. Thank you all so much. It means a lot. Thank you.
Congratulations once again.
Okay, thank you, Greg.
Yes, sir.
Next item, director's report.
Got a couple items. First, shout out to Greg for together that video. It's a pretty good video, but I don't know if it came across perfectly on the screens remotely, but again, we used that, got our drone out, and they had it out just yesterday out in Henry and Trimble counties. And so if there's other uses that you guys as TPC members see, maybe you need some drone footage, let us know. We might be able to help you out. Have some fun at the same time. I want to recognize Tanya Higdon from Federal Highways for joining us today. She joined after we did the roll call, and then also Mayor Johnson of Shively. Thank you all. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. Our next meeting, again, we'll take December all the way off. Our next meeting is scheduled for January 25th at 12:30. And it'll be a hybrid meeting, so please join us in the room if you choose to. If you can't be here in the room, please join us online, just like you are today. Look forward to big 2024. After that meeting, there's a board meeting, so hopefully all the board members can be there. We got an important board meeting that day too, so please do try to join us on January 25th. Couple updates I gave to the board a couple weeks ago at the annual meeting on November 14th on a couple of the federal grants that we're pursuing. Our Safe Streets and Roads for All project, our regional action plan. That project is been bouncing back and forth legal review, so we're real close. We reached out. We've got some comments from our consultants, legal team, and those are being reviewed as we speak this week. So hopefully, we have some real good news. Get that really underway soon. And then the other one that we haven't talked about much as a TPC lately is the thing called the Federal Railroad Administration Corridor Identification Grant Program that we and Louisville Metro teamed up on, and for that matter, we and NDOT teamed up on for a larger corridor going from Louisville to Chicago. We have not heard from the Federal Railroad Administration as of yet. Rumor had it that they would be making their announcements by the end of November, or in November. Late November was what we were told was likely. My watch tells me there's about 11 hours left in November. So hopefully, I don't know if we're gonna hear something today, but hopefully we hear something thumbs up, thumbs down real soon. Again, that was the, for those that don't recall, that was the federal funding for a viability study to look at passenger rail returning to our region. Connecting our grant was for the Louisville to Indianapolis portion, while the NDOT partner grant, if you will, was to examine the passenger rail connection that would be from Indianapolis to Chicago. So we're hopeful we'll hear something really soon on that. That's all I have. I just want to say thanks for another good year. TPC, thank you all so much for your support. I know you all can, your screen probably looks like mine, looks like look how many people we have on this virtual screen. And I want to thank each and every one of you for your support this year. And with that, I will turn it back to you.
Thank you, Andy. All right, is there any other business to come before the committee? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
A motion, see a second. I have a second. All in favor? All right, we'll stand adjourned.
We'll see y'all next year. Thanks again.
Thanks, everyone.